Are you trying to win more in the arena? If so, then make sure to stick around and I'll be showing you all the teams I've used as a completely free-to-play player that have gotten me to the Masters rank season after season. Yo, what's going on guys, it's Mookie, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can build a very strong arena offense in Cookie Run Kingdom. I'll be breaking down the 3 teams I use as well as their builds. A quick disclaimer is that my teams do involve Frost Queen and Sea Fairy, but I am free to play as mentioned, and if you played the last update at all, you too should have a Frost Queen that was given for free. I'll also be covering my opinion on the treasures I picked and why I use them over the others. And lastly, I'll be breaking down some gameplay to explain how the teams work and why I won or lost if it isn't clearly obvious by the match. For all of you wanting to watch a specific part, there will be timestamps in the description below. With all that explained, let's hop right in. So for team comps, I'm going to be going over my first team. It's going to be consistent of Coco Cookie as my frontline tank. Eclair is here for the weaken effect that he provides on the highest attack enemy cookies. This works great because most of the time the highest attack cookies are usually the squishiest in terms of HP, so his effect on them makes them much easier to pick off. Frost Queen and Sea Fairy are simply just DPS here, and they provide good crowd control with their stun and freeze, so it gives me time where the enemies aren't attacking to either heal up or squeeze in a couple extra hits. Lastly, I have Cotton in the back for healing and her quick initial stun that she provides on the frontline enemy. So sometimes it can counter Hollyberry or Crepe Cookie from getting their damage mitigation off, and this can really turn the events of a battle. Now I call this team the anti-Sea Fairy team. The reason for that is that Coco Cookie is the key to this counter team. She provides a stun resist, which makes it so that when an enemy Sea Fairy attacks, none of your cookies will get stunned, leaving you with a chance to counter back with all of your hard-hitting attacks. So essentially, anytime I see a Sea Fairy, I will most likely bring this team in to have a better chance at winning. For treasures, I use the Pilgrim Scroll for more attack, the Jelly Watch to get my abilities off super fast, and the Sugar Swan is a safety net. The Sugar Swan will usually proc on one of my damage dealers, giving them a second chance to put out more DPS. For my second team, it's going to be Hollyberry and Strawberry Crepe in the front line for damage mitigation and some DPS. Frost Queen and Sea Fairy are again just DPS and crowd control here, and Cotton once again for the heals and sustain. A quick note is that Parfait can replace Cotton here for even more tankiness. I just like the stun Cotton provides more, so that's why I built her up. Now I called this team the Tank Now Ask Questions Later. The reason for that is that you literally just tank all the hits, and either you were strong enough with the tankiness to win by doing enough damage over time, or they just simply outdamaged your tanks and you lost. For treasures, I use the same 2 as before with the Pilgrim Scroll and the Jelly Watch. However, I swapped in Gatekeeper's Horn for more defense, which just helps with the overall tankiness. Now this team can be countered by the first team I mentioned. However, you obviously want to take it in against teams that don't have an enemy Sea Fairy. For my last team, it's going to be a special one that I'm still in the process of perfecting. For the frontline, I got Ginger Brave and Kumio Cookie for the pushback by Ginger Brave and for the fast defense break by Kumio. Notice that I did say fast, and that's really the only reason you would use her over Dark Choco in this team. Frost Queen and Sea Fairy once again are just DPS and crowd control here, and for the backline I have Almond Cookie as he provides a chain link debuff on the enemies that essentially amplifies the damage all the enemies take from any source of damage you do. Now this team is the mechanic abusing cheese team. This team works off a specific order of abilities all coming together for a really fast victory, or honestly sometimes a really fast loss. But if you are trying to quickly go through your arena tickets, this is a great team for that. I love this team because I've been able to beat teams that my other 2 teams who have way higher attack power couldn't even come close to beating. It simply bundles all the enemies into one spot, chains them with that debuff, and then they get hard nuked. At least that's the general gist of how it works. For treasures, I use the scroll once more for the attack percentage. This time, however, I do use the enchanted robes for the attack speed buff on the 2 fastest attack speed cookies, and the jelly lollipop for the crazy crit rate and attack boost for the highest attack cookie. Now before we move forward, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, then I ask that you leave a like and a subscribe if you want more content like this. It really helps my channel grow and reach out to other players that are trying to learn this game as well, and it's always appreciated on my end. Now with that, let's have a look at the toppings and why these teams work. For the Anti-Sea Fairy team toppings, I'm gonna have a full almond set on Coco Cookie just to be able to survive the initial burst of the fight and get that ability off. Frost Queen is on a full Searing Raspberry set for the most attack and damage I can get off. Sea Fairy is on a hybrid Searing Raspberry and Swift Chocolate set for high DPS but also fast ability usage. Eclair is on a 3-piece Swift Chocolate and 2-piece Almond for tankiness, and I mostly focus on HP for his shield to be extra strong when I defeat an enemy. And Cotton is on a full Swift Chocolate to pump out the skill as quickly as possible to get those heals going as well as a stun. For the tank it all teams, the toppings of the Sea Fairy and Cotton are going to be the exact same. However, this time Hollyberry and Strawberry Crepe are on a full almond set with damage resist as a focus to be able to take a lot of hits. It's really important to note that I made sure my Frost Queen and Sea Fairy are my lowest HP units, as Strawberry Crepe's buff applies to the 2 lowest max HP cookies. This is crucial for surviving the fight as long as possible, as you want your damage dealers to get off their abilities as much as possible in a fight, and it really helps them just survive the rest of the fight. For the last team, it is really important to take notice of many things here, so buckle up as it's gonna get really technical. For Ginger Brave, it's pretty plain and really just focus on tankiness. I have him on a full almond set, with none of them leveled up as I'm currently broke and I don't want him to mess up his order in case they all roll into the wrong substats. For Kumio Cookie, she simply needs to be anywhere between 15 to 18% cooldown, depending on the level of your Jelly Watch, and she needs to be one of the 2 fastest attack speed units in order to benefit from the enchanted rope buff. I went with full Swift Chocolate to make sure she hit that cooldown, and with a little bit of attack speed substats to make sure she was hitting that threshold I was looking for. For Sea Fairy and Frost Queen, these are still the exact same toppings as before, but do notice that they do not have too much cooldown, as you need them to move after Almond Cookie. To tell if you have too much cooldown, just simply enter a match, and if their ability number is lower than Almond's, then you have a problem as they're gonna move before him, missing out on a huge damage window. Also, Frost Queen is the highest attack speed, so she will benefit from the enchanted robe alongside Kumio Cookie. Ideally, you want Frost Queen also to be the one that gets the jelly lollipop effect, but sadly, even though she has a full Searing Raspberry set, she's still lower level than my Sea Fairy, so instead Sea Fairy gets the buff, but it still works and it's not that big of a deal. Lastly, you need Almond to move before your DPS as I mentioned, and for that, I made sure to put a little bit of cooldown and attack speed on him, but most importantly, I put him on a full Almond set, well, because he's Almond Cookie and I'm not nuts. You get it? No? Okay. Anyways, you just need him to be tanky and move before your DPS. With all that explained, let's break down some of the matches and see how these teams perform. So I'm just going to be talking over some gameplay I recorded just to kind of showcase the teams and stuff like that. So for the first team, I'm taking in the Coco team. As you guys can see, there's a Sea Fairy and a Frost Queen on the team. Coco goes off right there. And as you guys can see, Sea Fairy used her ability on me and I didn't get stunned at all, leaving my Frost Queen room to be able to freeze everyone up, and then you just clean up easily. And that's why I love using this team so much to counter Sea Fairy, as it's just so strong and it's almost like an extra chance added to your team. It's really, really strong. So for this next battle, I'm 200,000 power below. I see Sea Fairy, I see Vamp, I'm like, this is an easy pick. I see Hollyberry, maybe I can get a stun off. That's kind of the mindset I'm going through, and then on top of that, if I die, due to them being super overpowered, I know they're gonna kill my Sea Fairy or Frost Queen first, giving me a chance to use their ability off again with the Sugar Swan. So it kind of works out nicely. At this point, I'm kind of looking like, okay, it's 50-50. My damage is looking really lackluster, but if I can get Frost Queen off or Eclair just to pick off that Frost Queen on their side, I know I can get this one in the bag, and that's exactly what happens. Vamp uses a skill, I take him out, it's just Hollyberry and Pumpkin Pie's pom-pom monster left on the field, and with this, I go, alright, Cotton just has to clean up. You can see right there, she stuns Hollyberry, making it super crucial for me to sneak in some extra hits before she can use her ability, and I end up taking the win. That's basically all you guys gotta kind of look out for. If there's a Sea Fairy, a Hollyberry, think of the key units on their team and think, okay, based off the video I watched today, what units can I use to counter this? Now for this battle right here, I whip out the tank team because as you guys can see, they have an Angel Cookie on the battlefield and I couldn't risk it, okay? They're in the top 60,000. It was breaking my heart. They almost got me there. You see that revive right there? They almost got me. It was a close match. I might not even put this in the video. Who knows? For this one, I see that they have a Coco Cookie. So I'm going to take in my Cheese Comp to counter Coco Cookie so she doesn't get the anti-stun ability off, leaving my Sea Fairy room to stun the rest of the enemy team. You see, I pushed her into the back, and look at that, I stun everyone. So this is me countering the anti-Sea Fairy team. This is the anti-anti. This is the counter to the counter team, essentially. As you can see, I beat that guy with ease, but that's the power of Ginger Brave pushing back enemy cookies, is that they won't get their ability off, and the fact that that person didn't hide Coco let me know, alright, they have a Coco on the team, they're gonna counter my Sea Fairy. That's one of my big damage dealers, I need to find a way to counter them back. For this one, I see that they have a Sea Fairy and that they're in diamonds, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take in my safe counter pick team, and I know I'm gonna get the win. There's no way I lose this just because of how underleveled their cookies are, and I'm literally countering like you guys can see. I took almost no damage there. I didn't get stunned at all, and it's an easy win. My Frost Queen goes, and it leaves their Frost Queen left with like 5 health basically. Now for this team, I see they have a Holly Berry, Pumpkin, and Pure Vanilla. So implying that their 2 middle rows are most likely damage dealers, or at least that's how I think about it. So I'm taking in my full tank team. And I was right, it's a Sea Fairy as well as a Sorbet Shark Cookie. As you guys will see right here, my Strawberry Crepe gets the ability off on my Sea Fairy and Frost Queen, as I mentioned earlier. And like, I've almost lost no health on my 2 damage dealers. It's ridiculous how broken this comp can be if the enemy's team is a little too revealing. If you can kind of read their playbook, then of course you're going to take the win, right? So you're going to counter it with the best team you possibly can. The Pure Vanilla is putting in work with the heals. It's just simply no match because both my damage dealers are still sitting well over 80% health, and then it just comes down to a Holly Berry, who I take right off the field. So if you guys build any of these teams, you'll be well on your way to facing me in the Masters rank, and I'd love to hear any questions you might have in the comments below. And while you're doing that, feel free to check out my other socials in the description. Included in there, you'll find my Twitch, where I like to stream a couple nights a week, so come hang out and have a fun time. With that, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day ahead of you, and peace.